easy. I recorded a conversation with me and a 10.4 sprinter, but he had a really bad injury, so we had a conversation about how he can actually regain his speed and develop it to push it even further to be one of the fastest people in the world. I think his story was very powerful, and I think the conversation me and him had was extremely powerful. You should watch until the end to see what we talk about, then see if you can take away anything to help develop your speed and athleticism. My name is Justin Mari. I am a strength conditioning coach who helps athletes develop their speed and athleticism for over 5 years now.
Okay, what's up? What's your question?
Not much. I mean, yeah, I had a couple questions because like I've been like researching speed endurance, all that, and there was a lot of great stuff about like the Achilles tendons and all that, and this was like because in high school it was like obviously growing up like in Texas and stuff like that, they're big football and track and field, and I grew up like getting football and outrunning everybody and all that, and all American in high school and football and track. I just like love speed and I tore my hamstring and I was never the same. I mean, I was never able to hit because my freshman year I was hitting like 11 threes, 11 fours and all that. Same thing with 8th grade because I tore my PCL and came back and so I didn't improve as much as I could have. But like, I was young and I was still growing. And then junior year I hit 11-0, 10-9. And then sophomore year was like 11-0, 10-9. And then like my junior year I was hitting 10-5, 10-4, 10. And like I was getting recruited by the University of Texas and all that stuff and doing very well. Then like when I tore my hamstring, I went back down to 10-9, 11-0 because I was running on an injury.
Yeah.
And now that I heal up, it's just like I don't know that it's like if like upper body weight, like upper body strength or like size on your upper body, I don't know if that slows you down, or at the same time it's like because I work out my legs more than anything. Like I do heavy lifting and explosive jumps. I do because I don't know if you follow Athlete X, but because like his name is like Cody Bidlow or something, and he talks about how to sprint faster and stuff like that. And he said that heavy lifting, is very, very good with like building a good foundation to put force into the ground as well as explosive. However, I'm confused because if you're stronger, the less they say the less explosive you are or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, which way do you go? When it goes to like lifting and do you want to be light and explosive? Because like my legs were like huge, to the point where like I had a decent like looking upper body, but at the same time like I want to be leveled out everywhere. Where I'm not trying to put a bunch of size on my upper body, but I want it to be strong, which like I probably did put on some muscle up there, but mainly the legs where I was putting on the muscle and I want it to be explosive, but at the same time, like still can't get past like a 10-9, 10-8, and I'm trying to get back down to 10-4, 10-5,
Okay. So I'm going to give you, I'm going to ramble a little bit. I'm going to give you a couple of concepts in my head right now. First, I'll give you, when it comes to your injury, so let's just call it hamstring injury. Like you tore your hamstring, and that's a huge one. That's going to slow you down. And one of the best things you can do to recover the hamstring at first is going to be slow eccentric training. You know what eccentrics, concentrics, right? Clearly you're strong at it, right? So eccentric training is obviously going to be one of the best things to recover it. But after you recovered your hamstring, and let's say you're back to speed training, that's actually the number one thing you want to let go. Is a lot of slow lifting. I'll give you a couple reasons why. The first thing is going to be the tendon stiffness. So you have tendons in the hamstring, you have tendons in the Achilles, in the patella tendon, everywhere around your body. And the more you lift, the stiffer they're going to get. And the stiffer they get, the higher ability or the higher risk of tears, real tears, like the long-term stuff, right? Now, tendon stiffness can be important for rate of force development, which is pretty much how much you can express your strength, right? How much you can utilize your strength. So if you're really strong and you're fast, you probably use good rate of force development, but also your tendon is very stiff, which means high susceptibility to injury, right? So that's just one reason why I would have you reconsider how much heavy strength training you're doing. Now, the next concept I kind of want to throw at you, then I'm going to kind of move away from the injury prevention side, is your cup versus how much is filled, right? So the foundation of athleticism, in my opinion, is the ankle, because everything starts from the ankle, right? When you're sprinting, especially at the speeds you're sprinting, you're moving, right? We know you're moving. You're running 10-5, 10-9, 10-3. Like you're really moving, which means every time you hit the ground, it's going to be 0.08 to 1 or to 0.15 seconds. Right? The ground contact times are quick. You're snapping off the ground and producing newtons, thousands newtons of force, right? Crazy pounds of force. So with that being said, slow strength training actually can hinder that because you're only training your ability concentrically to produce force at 2 to 3 seconds versus 0.1 to 0.2 seconds. Okay? So you're raising the cup, right? You're making this cup huge, but you're not fulfilling the cup, right? So when you're at your fastest, even if you weren't at your strongest, you're filling up 90% of your cup. You're getting all the rate of force development gains, the elasticity gains, every power gain, explosiveness gains, whatever term you want to use, you're filling the perfect amount of the cup, even if the cup wasn't that tall. Now, since the injury, you had a lot of time to get stronger. You have the cup raised all the way up here, but you're not utilizing the max amount of the cup. So the way you want to actually fill the cup is, this is kind of where you hear the debate of strength or not strength. This is where you want to do the speed style of lifting. I do believe in a lot of max strength work. I am strong myself. I can D squat 405 or 425 for 3, right? So I do believe in strength work. It is important. But in your specific issue where you're having injuries, which is probably coming from the slow strength work, and you have all of the strength, you need to fill out that cup. So we need to up the plyometric work. We need to add momentum to the plyometric work. So instead of standing pogos, we need to do hurdle hops, right? Instead of resisted jumps or like, I don't know what you could be doing. Instead of, let's just say, resisted jumps, you need to start doing bounding, right? So you need to start adding momentum to your pogos or to your plyometrics, and then you need to start adding faster lifts. You still can do your compound lifts, right? You can do, as an example, you can do a speed half squat. So a speed half squat would be something like 50% of your 1 rep max for fast reps, 4 sets of 6. You want it as fast as possible. But then you can do a heavy RDL or a heavy trap bar deadlift. If you just want that strength stimulus, you still want to feel like you're lifting heavy. So that's kind of like a concept I'm just kind of throwing at you. And I don't know what's kind of processed through your head, but maybe that might help you with understanding why you hear people say it's not important, why it's important. It's important for beginners, right? So when it's your first year training or your second year training, you need to get strong, right? You need to lift 1.75 times your body weight or 1.5 times your body weight. Even some people all the way up to 2.0. But once you get there, you have all of the cup you need. Your cup is as high as possible. You don't need to keep raising the cup because the diminishing returns can be a hamstring tear, an ACL tear, right? That's what we're risking now if we just keep pushing the strength level. So now it's like, forget the strength level. Let's just max it out. Let's just get as much as possible out of this cup. And that cup can be 10.0. It can be 10.2. Like, you have the strength to run 10.2, 10.0, 9.9, right? You have it, and you've done it. So I think that's just something to throw at you.
I hear you. I mean, it's just like, even right now, because I'm doing some summer track meets. I'm working with a new coach, and he felt like he had to fix my form and stuff like that to get me back down to the times I was running in high school and like when I got recruited by like these big time major colleges and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's just like I want to know when to stop filling up the strength cup, because I kept doing it like even throughout indoor, and like because like when I got the injury, I mean I'm taking a 5-year absence, and I come back, I'm like 22, 23 at this point. Yeah, I'm probably like 22. And I'm running a 7.0, 6.9 in the 60, and I was running like a 10.9 to 11.0 in the 100. I'm like, wow. So I 10.5 is definitely within my range if I just took 5 years off, right? And I come back off the couch.
Yeah, you're ridiculous.
Yeah. So, but the thing that pissed me off was that like the next year I got down like 10.8, 10.7, and then like I never got any better after that. Like I'm back down to 10.9, 11.0, 11.1, 11.2. I'm like, why am I running 11.2? Like, I mean, is it my technique, or like, I mean, is it? I mean, I'm about to turn 28 in next month. I mean, is it my age, or like, I mean,
Allen, he's like, what is he, like 40 at this point, and he's still getting faster. So how strong are you? What's like weight, like relative strength here, like numbers to your body weight?
So I gotta tell you, I have a disc problem in my lower back.
Mm-hmm.
So I do a leg press, belted squats. I make sure that I don't put much load on my back because of my disc problem. That's why I had to stop playing football, because of my disc. So I'm pitched like I'm belt squatting over 700 pounds. I'm leg pressing,
God, dude. Yeah.
yeah, I'm leg pressing, probably 800, 900 pounds. Like I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of weight,
Yeah.
and on top of that, like I mean, I'm also after I do that, I do like explosive jumps, on the same
Dude,
day.
your cup is maxed out.
Okay.
Your cup is filled up to the top, bro. I promise you. If
Mm-hmm.
you have a distance shoot, you could deep squat. You could probably deep squat 2.5 times your body weight, probably even up to 3.0.
Yeah,
How much do you weigh?
I'm only 175.
Oh, dude, what the hell are you, bro? You don't need to get stronger. Like, I know that might be like a hard thing to conceptualize, and trust me, it took me a long time to get over it, but that's the last thing you need right now. Think about tax, all right? And I'm not going to talk about politics. I don't really care about politics, but think about tax, right? The more rich you get, the more they take from you. Okay, that's in almost every state. The more money you make, the more problems you're probably gonna end up having. That's why people say more money, more problems. Like, that is a real thing, right? There was a year, I'm not gonna go into too much of a tangent. There was a year I made $2,000, and the next year I made almost $100,000. I had more problems when I almost made $100,000 because you get taxed like a motherfucker, right? It's the same thing with strength. The stronger you get, there's tax. You're gonna make 100,000, and they're gonna take 70. They could, right? But when you only made 20,000, you can only lift 200 pounds. The only thing you can do is get better, right? You're only going to make more gains. You're in the positive. But the second you tipped over that 70K, the 700 pounds, whatever the number is, all of a sudden now we're taking more tax from you. We're taking way, way more. You're getting taxed by the dollar, and that's where you're at right now. That's all it is. People can tell you your technique sucks. People can tell you this, tell you that. It's the injury. Oh, genetics. Oh, you're too old. It's not that. You're way too strong, and you're overly focused on that strength. You have probably some glaring weaknesses that you can improve from letting go of the strength work, turning into speed work, and then probably upping the plyometric volume. Because explosive jumps are great, but sprinting is a momentum-based sport, which means you need stuff like bounding. You need hurdle hops, stuff where you're moving forward. Right? You can't only do stationary stuff. You have to add momentum to it, or else it's never going to transfer to the track. So there's so much stuff you could be improving on right now. Like, you have it. You have everything you need right now. You have all the strength in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I mean, I'm glad you told me that because like that kind of changed my purview. But at the same time, like I'm only that was that like 600s, like high 600s and low 700s was like I hit that in like February and March. On April, May, I started like backing off. I kind of did more explosive stuff rather than because like I was upset that I ran 11.1 or whatever, or 11.2, and I was upset. And so I was like, okay, let me just be explosive. And I'm still running 11.1, 11.2. So I was like, what is going on here? I ran a 10.8 once. Like I ran like that was like a few weeks ago. I ran a 10.8, and like I mean, even though I'm sure like wind aided times and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm beating myself up because I ran an 11.14 with a negative 2.9 headwind. So that's probably like a 10.9, 10.8.
You're on 10.8 right now. 10.8. There's nothing wrong with that. You're around the ballpark. How much are you practicing? How much are you timing your sprints every week?
I never time my sprints. My coach just gives me a workout and goes 110, 120, and 340s, and maybe an 80. And he doesn't time.
Okay. Well,
That's not.
on your coach at all, because I don't care enough to like give hate to other people. But all I'll say is, if your goal is to get faster, you need to be sprinting.
Yeah.
You need to be timing. You need to be doing max effort sprints. You need to cut off the 110s and start running 40s and timing the 40s. And you ran a 4.6. Okay, now I'm going to run 4.45 this next time. And I'm going to run 4.4 the next time. And then the next session, I'm going to progress. Just like how you add 5 pounds every week to your squat, or 10 pounds every week to your squat, guess what? You need to take off 0.5 every week to your sprint. And the only way you can do that is by timing and getting max intent. So if you're doing it sounds like probably like a lot of conditioning and a lot of strength work right now, a lot of weight room exercises, but then just a bunch of 110s, 150s, 200 repeats, that's not speed training. Speed training is 40 and under, and you're going max effort, and you're improving the raw athletic ability of speed training. Something in high school to consider. If you think about how did I get so fast, you probably competed against some fast ass people, there's probably someone at your school or down the street or meet every 2 weeks or every week where you race someone who's just as fast as you. And then you kept competing, and then you improved. All of a sudden, you're running 10.5. You put in work, but a lot of it's competition. If you're not competing by timing yourself, racing someone around your speed or faster than you, you're not doing speed training. You're just doing conditioning work. So I don't know what he's doing is bullshit or anything, but maybe you could work out with him and be like, hey, I need to be running a 40-yard or sprinting 60 meters 2 times a week minimum. We need to figure that out. Work
against other people?
Yeah.
Against other people?
Other people or timing. If you're timing it, you're going to get max in 10. Because if you care enough, you're going to try to beat that time, which means you're going to go all out to beat that time. So if you run a 4.4 and you're like, I need to run 4.3, I have to. But every time you time it, you're going to try to beat that 4.4. If you just race and record your technique all the time, you're not going max intent. You're consciously thinking about your technique. You can't run at max speed if you just think about technique or always worry about feel and all these kind of external things that don't have data to it. You need data. So find someone who's fast or time it. You can time it with the phone. You don't even need to spend $100, $200 for an FAT system, even though there are some cheap ones right now by Skills that are like $100. But like you can just time it and do the milliseconds with Iron Path for free. And you can literally pinch out the milliseconds, put a cone at the start, put a cone at the 40-yard, and then keep running 40 yards with 3-4 minute rest until you drop off by 5%. And then you're conditioning at that point because you're tired, right? There you go. That's a session. That's the best thing you could possibly do.
Yeah. Which with the 40s, I've hit on like multiple times, 40s, 30s, and stuff like that, and a heavy lift. But my what used to be my strength in the race is to accelerate past people. Like my first 55 wouldn't be as good. I'll be able to accelerate past. Like now, that's my weakness, where people are passing me when I used to be Texas fast. Well, I would be able to jet past others, and like it's just like, okay, so is it because I'm not working on, because I don't know 40, because like that's what they say, football speed and track speed is different, where you can run a 4.2 in the 40, but you might not run that doesn't mean you're going to run a 10.1.
So what's interesting about acceleration is that strength does improve acceleration a lot. You probably heard that, and it is true. But once again, it's that to a certain point, right? What you need and what you probably did in high school, and I'm not trying to pick out everything you did, but in football, you wear pads, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm asking a dumbass question, my bad. In football, you wear pads, and pads are resistance. And in football, you sprint a lot, right?
Yeah.
Doing a lot of short sprints, 5 to 20 yards, short routes with pads and competition.
Yeah.
You're a defender racing people, and then you took that out to the track. You're doing short sprints, competition, and resistance. So that's all you need again. You need a sled, 10 to 20% of your body weight, and resistance sprints. You need to time those sprints to 20 yards, 30 yards, or you need to race somebody. Put both y'all on a sled or a band, have someone hold you with a band, a good band, an elastic one, not those tight ones, and resist you, and then you sprint. And then compete. That's like, if you start picking out, like, how did I get fast? All of a sudden, it's just foundational stuff. It's all fundamentals. It's all fundamentals. Yeah. And it's repeatable. Like, you can do this again. It's not like you got lucky. You put the work in the past. You can just do it again.
Yeah. I thought, I don't know, maybe because I was a teenage kid and like people get slowed down when they go or whatever it is, and it's just like, no, you're right. Like I played football. I was an All-American. I mean, the pads and all that, me running sprints and like beating everybody on the football field, that translated to the track and to the point where like I ran a 6.4, 6.39 at a 55 and 10.4, 10. I mean, but I can't play football anymore because of my lower back, but I can still do like sleds and like weighted vests, so.
Yeah. Like, got it. All this makes sense. Start picking out like what happened. Like, you can really repeat like history, I don't history always repeats itself, but you can repeat some things, right? Like, there's data to that shit. So you do that, you as long as you're getting that sprint work in, that's honestly probably the biggest thing that's been holding you back. If you're not doing speed training, real raw speed sessions, 40 yards and under 2 times per week, like you're missing out on so many gains. You can keep doing all the strength work in the world if you want to, but if you're not doing that speed work, you're not going to go anywhere. So if you can at least add that, then we'll figure out the strength work later. You can keep doing the stuff that feels good to you as long as you're competing, doing some form of resistance here and there, and timing yourself consistently. Like your track meet should be another practice. It shouldn't be a track meet, right? You should know
Okay.
100-meter time is every single practice based off your 40-yard split, right? Your 40-yard split is the same thing as your 100-meter time. You just find the numbers. You should be able to know your 100 every single practice. It should not be a once every 2 weeks thing.
Okay.
So that's like another thing. So yeah, there's some stuff to work with too. There's some really big room for improvement for you. And don't worry about age. Age is, dude, the reason why people get older and start running slower and they're like, oh my God, it's just you get old and that's just what happens. It's because they start sitting on the couch more. If you think about it, when you get older, you're out of college, you pick up a job and you start working 40 hours a week. What happens when you work 40 hours a week? You're probably sitting at a desk or you're sitting most of those days. And then you go home and you're tired and you're going to sit for the rest of the day. What did I just say? You sat. Everything's sitting. You're not moving. You're not active anymore. You don't have that issue. You're still active at your age, no matter what your job is, no matter what you do. I don't care, but you're still active, right? So you don't have to worry about age. Age is not going to catch up to you because you're not sitting on the couch being lazy all day. You're working. So you're good. Don't let that hold you back. You're fine.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, because I was a little scared, like, oh, the next 2 or 3 years when I hit 30, I might start slowing down. Like, it probably doesn't work that way.
Your tendon. The only thing is you got checking your body fat a little bit more when you get older because you can get fat easier when you get older, and then your tendons get a little weak a little bit easier, right? So you need a little more elastic context, stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.